Hi, my name is William Beam, and I enjoy photography, but I haven't enjoyed it much in probably the past year and a half. And that's the reason why I haven't been on YouTube lately. Unfortunately, there has just been some hard times. I've had some elderly family members in and out of the hospital. Unfortunately, one of them passed away. And even at the beginning of this year, one of our dogs passed away. So I don't want to drag you down into the mud, but I did kind of want to explain my absence. It's just been some rough times. Fortunately, things are getting much better now. And I've been working on a project that I wanted to share with you, and that is about a photography community that I'm setting up. And you're probably thinking, all right, why do we need another photography community? There are so many of them out there. And that's true. I've been a part of many of them, and I didn't really think that I found one that worked quite exactly the way I wanted to. So that's why I've designed one of my own. Right now, there's hardly anybody in it. I have folks who had signed up for my courses, already given some access to migrate in, and they got in free of charge. That's because I shut down my course site and built it on this platform as well that also hosts the community. And I think it's kind of nice to be able to have community, courses, and maybe also some tutorials and photography challenges, a bit more community-related aspect than just putting up courses for people to look at or not look at. And that's kind of what's been on my mind lately. So let me share this with you, and I would love your feedback in the comments below. You're welcome to tell me anything you're thinking about, and I'll be happy to hear it, and I'll respond back to you. All right, so this is the site. It is available at hub.williambeam.com, and that takes you to the front page. The whole idea of this site is something that has been one of my driving forces. Is not about what genre of photography that you're interested into. We'll have sections in here that I'll show you for portraits, for travel, landscape, and so on. But what I'm really more interested in is storytelling and personal enjoyment. In other words, are you doing photography for the fun of it? And are your photos telling a story? And I think the photography challenges that we have in mind can work with any genre. It's just that, are you telling a story and are you having fun doing it? So that's the whole idea of this site, is telling your story and enjoy the creative process. Now you'll see that there's a fee here. This is a one-time fee, $10. And I want to explain that a little bit too, because I've got another community that's starting off and it's starting to grow as well. And I charge a $10 fee. There's two reasons for that. One is it helps me keep the lights on. I get a few folks a month that'll pay for the server bill, and then we can have a nice place to play around. I'm certainly not going to get rich at $10 a month. And this is not $10 a month for the people who sign up in the beginning. This is $10 one time. Later on, if this becomes a thriving community, the people who sign up later may pay a $10 a month fee. But for right now, and for the foreseeable future, because communities are slow to grow, it's $10 one time. The idea is to keep out people who like to stir up trouble, people who, for lack of a better phrase, are a little bit of riffraff. They're aggressive. They come in, they mess all over everything. And I don't really want that. I want a friendly, positive community. I think if someone's going to put down $10 to gain access, then they really want to be there, rather than just, I'll see what's here and then, do whatever I want and then leave if I want to. That's not the attitude I'm looking for. I'm looking for people who want to be here, who want to be part of what we're trying to do here with telling stories and having a good time with photography, and maybe interested in a few photography challenges and a few tutorials and lessons and so forth. So that's why I'm charging a fee. And because I'm charging a fee, that means that it is going to be slow to grow. Okay, so I've got a little bit here about, what is the community all about? I've got a couple of courses out here. One is on Lightroom Classic for organizing your photos. And this is one that I've sold for a while. I typically sold it for $27. I wanted it to be a low-cost course. Well, now it's essentially $10, and that's it. And it'll be on this community for anybody who has access. Also, Luminar Neo, I have a course on that. It's a bit outdated, so I've got to bring that back up to speed. But that is also included. If I come up with more courses or maybe individual tutorials, those are included as well. So $10 will actually get you a lot just for watching the courses, even if you don't participate in the community, though I hope you will. So I'll talk about what you'll find inside. And this is what I'm looking for: discussions. I've got the courses there, and a supportive community. I want folks who are there for the love of photography, who want to help and be friendly to one another. That's the whole idea here. I'll have a little bit here about, why join. And this is the special launch offer. It is lifetime access for a one-time payment of just $10. So if you decide that you want to do that, I'd love to have you. You click on one of these buttons for $10. It'll give you access. Once you've come in here, you put in your information, and I've got my terms of use down here. I really do encourage you to read that, make sure you're happy with everything. And then there's a $10 link right down here. You may notice that I'm asking for address information. When I did this on the other community, I didn't ask for that because I don't need it. And then that's when I found out that there are a whole lot of people who have stolen credit cards that if you don't confirm the credit card number with their address and their zip code or postal code, that they may get through. And then I had a chargeback on me by the real card owner. Not only does that cost you the amount that they paid, which in my case was $10, but then there's another fee on top of that for having accepted a stolen credit card. So that was rather costly. I have since learned you need to get information that validates that the person who is filling out this form is the person who owns the card, and the address information is what does that. I push that off to Stripe, which is the service that I'm using, and that's the only reason. I don't plan on sending you anything in the mail. I'm not going to come by your house, but that's the reason. This is for your billing address only, and your billing address does not have to be the same as your home address, depending on how you're doing your cards. When I have my business credit card set up, the billing address is in St. Petersburg, Florida, and I live north of Orlando, Florida, so it's more than 100 miles away. All right, let me show you the inside. This is what it looks like inside. There's really no discussion going on yet because I'm kind of in a soft launch mode right now. As I said, I've given access to people who already had access to the courses. You'll find on the side over here, I'll tell you how to get started and start here. Welcome. I keep the community guidelines available here for everybody and where to request support. So I've got a couple places if you need support over here on the profile. There's a place for support tickets. Also further down on the menu bar over here, there's a place for support tickets. I'll probably put it up here on the top as well. So that way, if you're having a problem with the community and you need to put in a support ticket, there's a place to reach out. Promotional guidelines are in case you have something of yours that you want to promote. Most communities really don't allow you to do that. I do, but only in a limited space. So I'm not going to read this whole thing to you, but what I'll say is when you come over here, you have your own profile space, and whatever you put in here in your about, if you want to promote something, if you want to put links back to your affiliate offers or something that you're selling or promoting, you are welcome to do so in your own profile. I have no qualms with that at all. In the community discussions, please don't put any promotional offers because most people want to go there and talk about things rather than being marketed. So if somebody checks out your profile and they see that you've got a good offer, maybe you've got some templates, maybe you've got some background photos, whatever it is, you're welcome to put that over here. I also encourage everybody to come and say hello. So the only one who said hello, obviously, is me because, like I said, soft launch mode right now. And then I've got these various discussion areas. So I'm going to collapse these. And that's kind of to show that this is just one of the features of this community is that if you're seeing things that you're not interested in and you just want to get them out of your way, you can collapse all these discussions and get them out of your way. These may change as we go through the soft opening because we may find there's a better way to have our discussions. But I figured there's always a need for a general discussion, something that just doesn't fit in the other topic areas. And gear and deals, this is not so much if you want to promote something of yours, but if you find a deal that's going on someplace and you just want to share it here to tell your friends about it, that's fine. If you've got questions about your gear or something, that's also fine for this area. Now, these next two for photography challenges, obviously, since I haven't started this yet, we don't have any challenges going on. But the plan is at the first of the month, I will post a challenge right here. And that will be a topic that will work for any genre of photography. So let's just say that light and contrast is the topic. Well, you can do that with portraits. You can do it with travel, landscape, macro, and aerial, if that's what your stuff is all about. Whatever kind of photography, you can do something interesting with light and contrast, if that's, for example, one of the topics. I'll put that in here. I will give us a place to discuss it. And when it's time to vote, I'll put a place to submit your photo. There's a place to submit your photo for that month's challenge. And then I'll add one more down here for voting, and that'll be the last week of the month. The idea is you submit one photo that you have taken during this month that fits the challenge. So the challenge means that you wait for the assignment, you go out, take your photo, you share it, and then we vote on it. Once that month is over, I've got an archive area down here. And that's where I will put in the previous month's challenge, and this will just continue to grow. And that's one of the reasons I like that this collapses, because we figure if we get a couple of years down the line, we should have a lot of challenges. But we'll keep a record of all those old challenges and the discussions that go with them. So that's the idea for having two things for photography challenges, the active one and then the archive. So whatever was up here at the end of the month will go down here to the archives. And then I've just added a few things down here. We can change these around if we want to. We can add more. I can have unlimited groups, which are these categories or headers that you see over here. That's a group. And then these are spaces for discussions. And for portrait photography, I put in lighting techniques, environments, posing and composition, show and tell. Pretty much every one of these categories has a place where you can post your photos. And I'm going to add something in here. You see where we've got these little things up the top? I'm going to put something in here about request for a critique. The idea that I have in mind is just because you posted a photo to share doesn't mean that you're asking for anyone to give you their critique on it. So we're going to have a rule that says you can only critique photos that have been marked in their group with request for a critique. Something of that nature. I haven't put it up, so maybe it'll just say critique. Maybe it'll say request for critique. Who knows? That's the kind of thing that's open to discussion. The people who come in here first are going to shape what this community is for everybody who follows. So there's a place for portrait photography. I have travel and landscape photography. So if I open this up, travel, landscape, drone and aerial, and then this part, share your journeys, is much the same thing. This is a place where you can show your photographs. And again, it'll have a place if you want to request for a critique. And if it's not marked with that, well, then don't critique anybody's photos because they're sharing. They're not necessarily asking for your breakdown on what they've posted. Mobile photography is a big thing. I've got an iPhone, so I've got that over here. I've got places for mobile photography, various apps, because there are a ton of them out now. And I'll probably also add to this discussion space for your photos and sharing and critique if you want to do that. I am open to the idea of adding more of these photography areas. And I think that will grow as people come in and say, hey, what about? And then we'll go from there. So that's what I have for that so far. The digital darkroom, I've currently got this with Adobe On1 and Skylum software. But I'm open to the idea of changing this around. Maybe instead of being vendor specific, maybe it is going to be task specific, and we'll put up some of these little categories for this is going to be for Lightroom. This will be for Luminar Neo. This will be for Photoshop. I am open to changing this around again, and you'll see that I've got a category up here for presets and filters, one for retouching, reviews, tips. But we've got flexibility that we can turn this around. So that's what I have there. And then there are the public courses. Public means that if you have access to all this, then you can see. This is where I have my Luminar Neo Elements course, and this is where I have my Lightroom Essential Organization. If you're a Lightroom user, I really recommend that you go through and take a look at this. You can see it's quite lengthy. There's a lot of good information in here, and it was something that I think is going to be well worth your $10 if you came here just for that alone. The Luminar Neo one is about 2 years out of date. I've finished this in 2023. I'm recording now in the middle of 2025, and I think that needs a refresh, so I'm going to do that. As far as these links, well, this is another link for support tickets. This is a link to my blog or website, and this is a link to my YouTube channel where ideally you're watching me now. Another thing you can do is you can see the feed, which is kind of all of the discussions in one place. So not necessarily having to go to each one of these groups individually, although you can. There'll be a little indicator if there's a new post there for you. The feed just kind of shows you everything. Spaces, well, that's what these things are. And I've got banners and headers for most of them. The challenges are a fairly new idea for me. So I am going to come up with something to have graphics for those. But you can see that for most of this stuff, I've got some kind of little banner graphics, and you can just go to Spaces and find out where the discussions are. And that's my dog, Lola, who is the one, sadly, that just passed away earlier this year, but I love her. And then this place for Submit Your Photo here, I'm thinking this is going to be for the challenge. That'll be a group where you post your photos, and we'll be able to take those and then put them on a place where members can go vote. The courses, as I said, I have 2 courses right now. There will be more to come, I'm sure. Members, this is where we have a choice. We can find out, do we want to show all the members that are in here, or do we not want to do this? Maybe some people don't want to be in a member category. I'm fine with that. And then, of course, there is a leaderboard, which will show for the last 7 days, the last 30 days, or all time, who's participating, who's the most active. These little titles may change because these are what came with software, which, by the way, if you're curious, I'm running this on WordPress on a virtual private server. The software is called Fluent Community. It's by WP Managed Ninja. I'm very pleased with a lot of their software, and I love the flexibility that I have with this. I can start adding a number of other things, whereas my previous community didn't even have discussions, and it was just a place to post up the various courses that I had, but I had to have my community over on Facebook, and now I kind of have a central place for this. There are still going to be articles on the blog. You know, I posted one few weeks ago about Lola, and I will still have some more to post, but I think the future of what I'm looking for online with my photography is going to be community and tutorials and courses. If you are interested in this, please go to hub.williambeam.com and you can register there. As I said, members who have already had one of my courses get in free. If you are a member of my Facebook group, you also get in free. Anyone else is $10 for a one-time fee. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer whatever I can for you. And I get it. Sometimes you may want to say, is this right for me? Are there any refunds? And I'll tell you this much in advance. If you look at the terms of service, there are no refunds. It's $10. It's not a big deal if you want to join and participate. If you don't want to take a $10 chance on this, I perfectly understand. In that way, this is still going to be, I think, a good community for a growing group of people, but it is a no refund community for $10 for a one-time fee. I think that's a reasonable offer. So that's all I've got to say about that. Thank you very much. I am happy to be back on YouTube. I'm happy to be launching this community, and I hope to see you around in the next video.